Everyone, my name is Nadia with We Act for Environmental Justice. We are a grassroots advocacy organization based out of Northern Manhattan. I am not really happy to be here today. Was not planning for this, but while all people will be impacted by climate change, while all people will be impacted by the Supreme Court ruling of West Virginia versus EPA, we will not all be impacted the same. This isn't just people versus polluters. This is poor people versus polluters. This is communities of color versus polluters. This is indigenous tribes versus polluters. This is the future of all of our children versus polluters. This ruling is a reinforcement of decades of injustice. Communities of color are more likely to live near power plants. When we fail to regulate power plant facilities, we allow for communities of color to breathe in toxic chemicals and smokestacks to add greenhouse gases to our environment. When we don't regulate facilities, we allow for climate change to go unmitigated, and we signal to communities that we don't value their lives. These facilities cause our children to have asthma and lead our elders to die early from heart attacks and cancer. Unquantifiable loss. The impacts of West Virginia versus EPA might not be felt immediately, but the history of inequity in America is a constant story in our communities. These power plants have been placed in communities of color and low-income communities because they view our lives as disposable. They view my life as disposable. While everyone will be impacted by heat waves, environmental justice communities will disproportionately feel the impacts of rising temperatures and increasing natural disasters. In New York, Black people are twice as likely to die during heat waves, and that's because of the urban heat island effect. Communities of color have less green spaces and less tree canopy, and this is intentional. Intentional disinvestment backed by politicians and corporations in the 1930s is killing our communities now. And if action is not taken to address climate change, our inactions of the 2020s will create an unimaginable future for generations. In New York, grassroots advocacy has fought year after year and successfully won to get climate bills across the finish line. But we need this everywhere. Local and state legislators must act now. New York and California and other Democratic states alone won't create the just transition. We will be leaving people behind if we don't all do it together. Not only of the health benefits of less pollution, but also of the jobs that we need so badly. Jobs in solar and sustainability, jobs that generate clean energy, and jobs that create strong communities. Jobs that are inclusive to all people and of all backgrounds. While the history and present of environmental injustice is bleak, I remain hopeful. Our advocacy for environmental justice and climate justice is resilient, and despite the ruling on West Virginia versus EPA, we will continue to push the administration, the EPA, and Congress to pass stricter standards to mitigate climate change and improve air quality. We will turn out and vote, right? Yes. We must pass Build Back Better or some budget reconciliation package right now. Yes. We have needed these investments for decades, and the second best time to invest is right now. Yes. We act for change and we fight for justice. Yes. We act for change and we fight for justice. Thank you.